Hi guys, so we are back with another video lecture as a part of Fast Track series for RBI Grade B 2018, which has been brought to you guys by EduTap. Before proceeding forward, let us briefly look at what this series entails for you guys. So in this particular series, we are going to attain a comprehensive coverage of current affairs from the month of May 2018 to 15th August 2018, that is before your examination. And again, in this particular series, we are going to alternatively cover topics of ESI, that is economic and social issues, and finance and management, which will be covered through important problems under multiple choice questions or MCQs. Now, we have been working in this direction for the past few years, and we have been blessed with some of the very amazing results in the past few years. Now in RBI Grade B 2017 results, 124 of our students, they reached the interview stage, and 27 of the students, they made it to the final list. Now apart from the different other courses which we are running, we are offering these courses for RBI Grade B 2018 examination. So these are the different courses which you guys can choose from. So there is a wide range of courses and you can choose according to your requirement. Now in case you need to know more, you have any query, you can always visit our website, which is www.edutap.co.in, or you can drop us a mail at deepak@edutap.co.in, or you can call us at 8146-207-241. So in this video, we are going to cover some of the very important current affairs, current news and current events, which are very important for our examination. And these are from the dates 20th of May to 24th May 2018. So first news item is about the organization of Islamic Council's emergency meet, which was recently held in Istanbul. Now, Organization of Islamic Council is an international organization which was founded way back in 1969, and it has 57 member states, and 47 of the countries are Muslim majority countries. So Organization of Islamic Council comprises of Muslim majority countries. This organization also has permanent delegations to UN as well as European Union, and the main objective of this particular organization is to work towards safeguarding and protecting the interests of Muslim world. So it is primarily concerned with the interests of Muslim population in the world. And it has a distinction of being the second largest intergovernmental organization after UN. So UN is the largest intergovernmental organization, and next to it is OIC, or Organization of Islamic Council. Currently, the rotating presidency of the organization is being held with Turkey. So Turkey has recently called an extraordinary meeting of 57 member organization, that is OIC, and this has occurred after the Israeli forces they killed dozens of people in Gaza in early May. So this is about the situation pertaining to the Israel-Palestine conflict, and in this regard an emergency meeting of OIC has been called, and we have to remember the basic aspects of this particular organization. So next is about India dragging US to WTO over imposition of duties. So India has dragged the US to WTO's dispute settlement mechanism over the imposition of import duties on steel and aluminium. So US President recently announced heavy tariffs on imported steel and aluminium items, and these are around 25% tariff on steel and 10% tariff on aluminium. Now India is exporting both steel and aluminium products to America, and the exports are around $1.5 billion every year. So a huge amount of exports of steel and aluminium are done to US from India. So India has been one of the aggrieved parties in this regard, and so India has gone to WTO challenging this imposition of tariff duties. So India has sought consultations with the US under the WTO's dispute settlement mechanism, and seeking consultation is the first step of dispute settlement process. If the two nations are not able to mutually reach some solution through this consultation process, then India will request WTO settlement panel that it should review the matter itself. So first is consultation, and then the WTO panel will itself review the matter. Next is about the construction of Asia's longest road tunnel, that is the Zojila Tunnel. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has recently inaugurated the construction of Zojila Tunnel project in Jammu and Kashmir's Leh. So this is going to be the India's longest road tunnel and Asia's longest bi-directional Tunnel. So this is the important distinction that this Zojila Tunnel has, and the construction of this project will be implemented by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, and this will be done through the National Highways and Infra Development Corporation Limited on EPC, that is Engineering, Procurement of and Construction mode, which is one of the modes of PPP. The construction of this tunnel is going to provide all-weather connectivity between Srinagar, Kargil and Leh. Now the next is about IIT Kanpur setting up India's first advisory center for energy. So IIT Kanpur has set up first of its kind center for energy regulation. So this is the center for energy regulation which has been set up by IIT Kanpur, and the objective of this center is to strengthen the policy and regulatory limitations in energy and power sector. So we have to remember that with regard to power and energy sector, IIT Kanpur has set up India's first advisory center, and this center has been set up with foreign assistance of the UK government. So this is with the foreign collaboration of UK government, and this center for energy regulation is going to address the different regulatory issues. It is going to promote research and broaden the knowledge base with regard to different issues which are impacting the power sector in India. Next one is about Akademik Lomonosov. This is the world's first floating nuclear power plant. So this is important that Russia has unveiled its first floating nuclear power plant, and this is named as Akademik Lomonosov. So this is the name of this one. So we can be asked, well, this Akademik Lomonosov was the news recently, and this is, and we can be given different options to confuse us, and we have to remember that this is world's first floating nuclear power plant which has been recently unveiled by Russia, and this is located in the Arctic port of Murmansk. So this is in Russia, and in Russia this world's first floating nuclear power plant is located. Now this mission is to provide electricity to an isolated Russian town of Chukotka across the Bering Strait from Alaska. So this is the Bering Strait. You can see this is one is the Bering Strait, this is Russia, and this is Alaska. So somewhere this town is located, and to this town we are hoping to provide electricity through this nuclear power plant. This plant is going to replace a coal-fired plant and an aging nuclear power plant which was earlier supplying electricity to these people. Russian state nuclear company Rosatom. So this company Rosatom is of Russia, and this has developed this particular floating power plant. Next is about the Ujala scheme, and under this particular scheme, EESL, that is Energy Efficiency Services Limited, has distributed over 30 crore LED bulbs across the country. So this is one of the tremendous achievements India is making towards promoting the use of LED in the country through Ujala program. Now this Ujala is a zero subsidy scheme which was launched by the Indian government way back in 2015, and it aims to popularize the message of energy efficiency in the country, and this energy efficiency is to be promoted through enhanced use of LED in the country. Now this scheme is being implemented by the public sector undertaking of the Government of India, which is EESL, or the Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which operates under the Ministry of Power. So this is another important fact with regard to this one. Now this one is an LED based domestic efficient lighting program. This is the key aspect of this Ujala scheme. This Ujala scheme can be simply put into words through this particular phrase, that LED based domestic efficient lighting program. So the next news item is about Kerala being on high alert due to a rare and deadly Nipah virus infection which has been detected for the first time in this state. Now according to a report of WTO, this virus has gained its foothold in the state of Kerala and all over the world due to some human triggered factors like habitat loss due to deforestation and climate change factors, which have resulted in habitat destruction of this host of this virus, which is flying fox or fruit bat. So this is the host of this virus. This is the natural host of this virus, and due to its habitat destruction, this host has come into contact with the human population, and it has resulted in spelling of this virus. So the symptoms of the Nipah virus, they are very much similar to that of influenza. They include fever, muscle pain and respiratory problems. Now let us look at some of the basic aspects of this Nipah virus. Now, according to WHO, this is a newly emerging zoonosis, that is a disease transmitted from animals to humans. So this is important, zoonosis, animals to humans, and it belongs to a new genus which is termed as Henipavirus. The natural host of this virus are fruit bats, and the humans were first time affected in 2004, and pigs can also act as an intermediate host for this one. This virus was first identified in 1998 in a village in Malaysia, and it was named Nipah after the name of this particular village. And presently there is no vaccine available for this disease, either for humans or animals. So these are some of the basic key aspects of Nipah virus which can be asked in the examination. Next is about the 26th Basic Ministerial Meeting of Environment Ministers. So the BASIC stands for Brazil, South Africa, India and China. Recently 26th Basic Ministerial Meeting on Climate Change was held in Durban, South Africa in May 2018. So this is important, that the recent ministerial meeting with regard to climate change, it was held in Durban, South Africa. The basic countries have decided to preserve the integrity of historic 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, and these are going to include the principles of common but differentiated responsibilities and equity. The Union Environment Minister of India, that is Dr. Harshvardhan, he reiterated his appeal for joint efforts towards combating climate change through green good deeds. Now let us briefly learn about this grouping of BASIC countries. Now BASIC is a grouping of 4 countries, that is Brazil, South Africa, India and China, and it was formed by an agreement on 28th of November 2009. This group has committed to act jointly at the Copenhagen Climate Summit, which was held in 2009, and this is when this grouping came into being. This is when it came out with some common position on emission reductions and with regard to the climate aid money, and to try to convince other countries that they sign up to the Copenhagen Accord. So the main climate change conference associated with the BASIC countries, the formation of the BASIC group, is Copenhagen Climate Summit. So next is about China launching a new satellite, and its name is a bit of a tongue twister for you guys. It's Queqiao satellite, and China has recently launched this one, and this is the relay satellite to explore the dark side of the moon. So we have to remember that the objective of this satellite is to explore the dark side of the moon. So China has launched this satellite in May 2018 as a part of groundbreaking program to be the first to land a spacecraft on the far side of the moon later this year. So this is important, that with this satellite China is going to be the first country to make a landing on the far side of the moon. The satellite, it was lofted into space aboard a long March 4C rocket, and this is going to facilitate communication between controllers on the Earth and Chang'e 4 mission. This is another very important mission of China, and this mission is a series of lunar probes which has been launched by China National Space Administration. So we have to remember that this mission is related to lunar probes. So this is important, and the name of the satellite, that is Queqiao or Magpie Bridge, this is after an ancient Chinese folk tale. Next is about India being adjudged as the 6th wealthiest country in the world. Now this is as per the Afro-Asia Bank Global Wealth Migration Review. So according to this review, India is the 6th wealthiest country in the world, and India's total wealth is $8,230 billion. Now this total wealth which has been adjusted, it refers to the private wealth. This is very important. Private is the key word here. It is the private wealth held by all the individuals living in each country. So in this review, we are taking into account private wealth, and government funds are excluded from these figures. Only private wealth, that is the assets of the private people, property, cash, equities, business interests, minus any liabilities, they are considered, and government funds are excluded. So larger countries which have a higher population definitely have an advantage in terms of the wealth in the country. And according to this review, US is the richest nation in the world with a total wealth of $62,584 billion, and it is followed by China in the 2nd place and Japan in the 3rd place. Next is about honey mission, in which KVIC or Khadi and Village Industries Commission has created a world record. Now, May 21 was recently observed as the World Honeybee Day, and on this occasion, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, or KVIC, has created a new world record, and this record pertains to distributing maximum number of bee boxes in a single day. And the previous record in this regard was held by Israel, and it was 841 boxes. And this sweet revolution was last year called up by the Prime Minister of India on the lines of White Revolution and Green Revolution, which intended to promote honey farming in the country. And in this regard, KVIC made an enthusiastic effort and launched Honey Mission, and it set up a target of distributing 1.3 lakh bee boxes across the nation before November 2018. Altogether, 25,000 honey bottles were distributed across the country by KVIC on May 21 to celebrate the World Honeybee Day. So, important facts from this one is that May 21 is the World Honeybee Day, and with regard to this World Honeybee Day, KVIC has recently set up a world record under its Honey Mission. Next one is about another important day, which is the 22nd of May, which is observed as the International Biodiversity Day. Now, May 22nd is observed as the International Day for Biological Diversity, and this day is celebrated to increase the awareness on different issues relating to biodiversity, like habitat destruction, marine pollution, climate change, and similar related factors. The theme for 2018 is celebrating 25 years of action for biodiversity. So we have completed 25 years of action of biodiversity, and this was the theme for 2018, and it was observed for the first time in 1993. So you can see how 25 years have been completed now. In 2000, May 22 was chosen as the International Day for Biological Diversity to commemorate the adoption of the agreed text of Convention on Biological Diversity. So in 1993 we first took our action towards conserving biodiversity, and in 2000 we started observing 22nd of May as the chosen day for International Day for Biological Diversity. And recently in 2018 we celebrated 25 years of action for biodiversity. So though we did not start observing the day from 1993, we started acting for biodiversity. So we have completed 25 years with regard to action for biodiversity, and this is with regard to Convention on Biological Diversity. This Convention on Biological Diversity, or CBD, it is an international legal agreement which has been ratified by 196 nations, and it aims towards conservation of biological diversity, sustainable use of biodiversity components, and fair and equitable sharing of the benefits which arise out of the utilization of biological resources. Next is about the Udaan scheme and about the first commercial flight of Arunachal Pradesh. So 42-seat Alliance Air ATR has taken its first commercial flight between Guwahati, Assam and Pasighat, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. So with this flight, Arunachal Pradesh is now connected to other parts of the country through air route or air transportation, and this has been possible because of this Udaan scheme. This Udaan is a regional connectivity scheme which was launched in 2016 to develop the regional aviation market in the country, and this scheme is a vital component of National Civil Aviation Policy 2016. The primary objective of this regional connectivity scheme Udaan is to facilitate regional air connectivity in order to make it affordable through financial viability gap funding support on some routes. So we are going to provide viability gap funding. The government is going to provide this viability gap funding in order to promote air connectivity across the different regions in the country. Next is about India receiving crude oil under the Strategic Petroleum Reserve Project of India. So India has received its first crude oil cargo shipment from Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, or ADNOC, for its Strategic Petroleum Reserve at Mangalore, and this was received in May 2018. So this is important that in Mangalore we are having a Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and with regard to this we have received our first crude consignment from Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Now in February 2018, UAE and Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited, that is ISPRL, and ADNOC signed an agreement in this regard, that is to ship crude cargo to this Mangalore Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So this organization is important in this regard, Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited. This is a special purpose vehicle which is wholly owned by Oil Industry Development Board under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. So this we have to remember, that this particular organization is not under Ministry of Power, is not under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, it is not under Ministry of Coal, it is under Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. And if you look at the India's strategic crude oil storages, these are located in Visakhapatnam, Mangalore and Padur. So these are other important sites with respect to strategic crude oil storages in India. And if we talk about the India's dependence on imports with regard to meeting its crude oil requirements, India is 82% dependent on imports to meet its crude oil needs. So this is a very high portion. This is more than 3/4 of the India's crude oil needs. And UAE is the 6th largest crude oil supplier for India and supplies around 6% of the petroleum requirement. So UAE is holding a considerable position in this regard. Next one is about Navika Sagar Parikrama. Now Indian Navy's 6-member all-women crew which was on board this vessel, which is INSV Tarini vessel. This is important. It has reached Goa after circumnavigating the globe in 254 days under this program, which is Navika Sagar Parikrama expedition. So this is very important. We have to remember that this 6-member all-women crew which was on board this INSV Tarini vessel has completed circumnavigation of globe under the Navika Sagar Parikrama expedition. This is important because this was the first ever all-women Asian and Indian circumnavigation expedition of the globe. This expedition started in September 2017 in Goa, and the objective was to promote Nari Shakti. And in this regard, this crew was also conferred prestigious Nari Shakti Puruskar 2017. So we have to remember about INSV Tarini, we have to remember about Navika Sagar Parikrama, and we have to remember about Nari Shakti Puruskar. Let us look at some of the important facts with regard to this Nari Shakti Puruskar or Nari Shakti Award. Now this is an award which aims to acknowledge the achievements of women in different fields, and in this regard this award is given towards the cause of women empowerment. This award was established for the first time in 1991, and since then it is being given annually by the President on the occasion of International Women's Day, which is celebrated on 8th of March every year. This award also carries a cash award of rupees 1 lakh and a certificate for individuals and institutions. So the Ministry of Women and Child Development is concerned with announcing this national level award, and this award is not only given to individual women, but it is also given for organizations and institutions. So these are the basic aspects of Nari Shakti Award. Now the next one is about the launch of India's first copper options contract, which has been launched by MCX or Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited. So India's largest commodity exchange platform, which is the Multi Commodity Exchange of India or MCX, has launched India's first copper options contract. So in this regard, we have to remember the name of this exchange, and we have to know the basic features of option contracts. Now option is a contract in which the buyer is the owner or the holder of the option, has the right but not the obligation. So the holder of this particular option contract has the right without any obligation to buy or sell any particular asset, be it shares, be it any commodity, at a specified price on a specified future date, depending on the form of the option. That is, if it is a call option, it is for buying; if it is a put option, it is for selling. So it is a right without obligation with respect to buying or selling an asset on a future date at a specified price which is decided in advance. Now this MCX is a platform for commodity traders that facilitates online trading with regard to commodity future transaction, thereby providing a platform for risk management. Now this copper option contract, which has been recently launched, it will have the lot size of 1 ton, and there will be 3 contracts which will expire in June, August and November 2018. Next is about the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, and it has been successfully test fired recently. So the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile with an extended life was for the first time successfully test fired from the integrated test range in Balasore in Odisha. So this is important that it was tested with an extended life for the first time. So this test was conducted as a part of a life extension program of the BrahMos missile from 10 years to 15 years. So we are extending the life of this missile from 10 years to 15 years, and within this test BrahMos has become the first Indian missile whose life has been extended. So this is some very important factual information for examination, that which one is the first missile which is whose life has been extended for the first time in India. So this is BrahMos missile. Now this BrahMos is a supersonic cruise missile, and it has been developed jointly by India's DRDO, which is the Defense Research and Development Organization, and Russia's similar counterpart organization, which is NPO Machino-Stroyenia, under a joint venture between India and Russia. So we have to remember that this is a joint venture between India and Russia. It is a supersonic cruise missile. This missile is capable of being launched from all the segments, be it land, sea, underwater, that is subsea, and air, against sea as well as land targets. This one operates on the principle of fire and forget. Next is about Chhattisgarh Specialized Anti-Naxal Combat Force, which is Black Panther. So Chhattisgarh is going to get a specialized anti-Naxal combat force, the name of which is going to be Black Panthers, on the lines of Greyhound unit. Now this Greyhound is a special force which is operational in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, which specializes in anti-insurgency operations against Naxalites and Maoists in these particular states. So on the lines of this Greyhound unit, Chhattisgarh is going to get the Black Panther unit. So this is some of the very important information we have to remember about Black Panther, the state associated, and similar information about the Greyhound program. The next one is about the release of Ganga Biodiversity Status Report, which has been recently released by Shri Nitin Gadkari. Now this event also noted the inauguration of a day-long workshop which was organized by Worldwide Fund on the theme Ganga and its biodiversity, developing a roadmap for habitat and species conservation. Also a database of Ganga Praharis, and this is the self-motivated cadre which is created by the Wildlife Institute of India. It was also launched by the minister on this particular occasion. Next is about the software being launched by Rajasthan for disease monitoring, which has been named Nidaan. So Rajasthan government has developed this software called Nidaan, and it is going to be for disease monitoring and strengthening telemedicine services in the government hospitals. This software is going to help in providing presumptive diagnosis and monitoring of seasonal and non-communicable diseases, as well as trends of ailments found in specific areas. So we have to remember that Nidaan is a software being launched by the Rajasthan government for disease monitoring and strengthening telemedicine services. Next is about an alien asteroid being discovered in the solar system by the name of Oumuamua. So this is a very tongue-twisting name, and we have to remember this one for examination, that this is an alien asteroid, and scientists have recently discovered this one nestling in the Jupiter's orbit that had migrated from another star system. So this has made it the first known permanent immigrant to our solar system. So this has come from another solar system, another star system, and it is the first permanent immigrant to our solar system. So this discovery has confirmed this suspicion of the scientists that asteroids from other planets, other planetary systems, other star systems are coming to our solar system. Now this asteroid was actually first discovered in 2014, but after 4 years of tracking this one, scientists are definitely now able to determine that this arrived in our solar system around 4.5 billion years ago, just as the Earth started to form. Now next one is about the launch of Grace 4 satellites. So SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket has recently launched twin NASA satellites that are going to monitor the Earth's water cycle. So this satellite was launched on board this Falcon 9 rocket from Vandenberg Air Base in California, US, and this launch marks a unique ride-share arrangement. The two gravity recovery and climate experiment follow-on mission spacecraft. So this is the full form of this Grace F4 spacecraft. It will follow each other in orbit around Earth, separated by about 220 kilometers. So this mission is a unique mission which is going to monitor Earth's water cycle, and this is a collaborative mission of NASA and the German Research Center for Geosciences. So this is a collaborative mission and it is going to monitor Earth's water cycle. This is the information which we have to remember. Next is about the Model Agriculture Produce and Livestock Contract Farming Act of 2018. So central government has released a draft law on contract farming and services. So what is contract farming? Under contract farming, agriculture production, and this includes both livestock as well as poultry, it can be carried out based on a pre-harvest agreement. So under the contract farming, a pre-harvest agreement is made between buyers, which are food processing units or exporters, and producers, which are farmers or farmer organizations. And as per this agreement, the producer or the farmers, they can sell the agricultural produce at a specific price in the future to the buyer as per the agreement or as per the contract. So under the contract farming, producer can reduce the risk of fluctuating market price and demand, and the buyer can reduce the risk of non-availability of quality produce. So this is beneficial for both buyers as well as producers. Now let us look at the key features of this model law. This law is not going to be applicable only to crops, but it has a wider scope and it is going to be applicable to livestock, dairy as well as poultry products. However, this is a model law and it will be up to the state governments whether they need to enact this law or not. It calls for setting up an independent agency in the states to promote contract farming, and it also specifies damages in the case of contravention of the terms of the contract by either of the parties. Under the draft model act, the producer can get support from the buyer for improving production through inputs such as technology, pre-harvest and post-harvest infra as per the agreement. So the buyer can also support the producer in order to get quality produced by providing either technology or through other infrastructure support. However, the buyer cannot raise a permanent structure on the producer's land. So buyer cannot hold a permanent claim on the producer's land. The right or title ownership of the producer land cannot be transferred to the buyer. So with this agreement, you cannot transfer the ownership of the producer's land. Now the next one is about the worsening air quality and premature deaths in India. So recently a study titled Know What You Breathe was recently released in New Delhi, and this is based on a research by IIT Delhi in collaboration with environmental NGO, which is Center for Energy and Environment Development. And the report has found that the worsening air quality in the last 2 decades has emerged as one of the major reasons for high number of premature deaths. So the worsening air quality has led to high number of premature deaths in the country. And in this study, it has calculated the annual mortality burden, and this has been calculated through average of recorded deaths due to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, acute lower respiratory infection, and coronary disease, stroke, and lung cancer. So using this different indicators, it has calculated the mortality burden, and it has identified this that COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease was the largest cause of deaths, and lung cancer was the lowest cause of death. According to this report, which was based on the study of 11 North Indian states, the annual mortality linked to air pollution is in the range of 150 to 300 persons per 1 lakh population. So this is a very high amount, and this study further acknowledges that the worsening air quality is leading to premature deaths in the country, and we need to work towards improving the air quality in the country. Next is about a joint collaborative arrangement between India, Netherlands and Sweden with regard to promoting research on HIV/AIDS. So governments of India and the Netherlands, they have announced the launch of first of its kind collaborative research program with regard to HIV/AIDS between India, Netherlands and Sweden. So this collaboration is going to focus on accessing the relevant populations of research interest, leveraging the important technologies and advanced predictive analytics to better understand the occurrence of HIV/AIDS virus. So with this regard, we have to remember that this is an agreement between India, Netherlands and Sweden, and this is going to research on different aspects of HIV/AIDS virus in India. Now India, China and Pakistan are among the top 10 countries that account for more than 95% of the new HIV infections in the Asia and the Pacific region in 2016 according to a UN report. So that is why this is important that we focus on these countries, India, China and Pakistan, and eliminate and reduce the HIV/AIDS virus prevalence from these countries. Now if you look at some of the other important aspects with regard to the AIDS virus, now this is a human immunodeficiency virus and this is also a retrovirus. The transmission of HIV, it can be either through physical means, through blood transfusion, through exchanges between the mother and baby during pregnancy, breastfeeding or other exposures due to bodily fluids. Now in respect of HIV/AIDS, this UN 90-90-90 targets is important, and this target aims at by 2020 90% of all HIV infected people must know their status, and 90% of all HIV diagnosed people should access the ART or the antiretroviral therapy which is there for combating this virus, and 90% of those which are taking this therapy should experience viral suppression. That is, HIV virus should be suppressed in these people. Now the next one is about Niti Aayog inking a pact with ABB India to help the country reap the benefits of latest technologies like robotics and artificial intelligence. Now this ABB is a Swiss multinational corporation which is headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland, and it operates primarily in robotics, power, heavy electrical equipment and automation technology areas. So to share the expertise in this regard, an agreement has been signed with Niti Aayog. Now, so this initiative aims to support the Indian government to realize the objective of Make in India through advanced manufacturing technologies that are going to incorporate the developments being made in robotics and AI or artificial intelligence. Now the next one is about the setting up of over 4,000 mobile towers in the 10 Naxal affected states to improve telecom network in these places. So Cabinet has recently approved this project to set up around 4,000 mobile towers in Naxal affected states, which include Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, UP, Maharashtra, Telangana and Madhya Pradesh. So these towers are going to strengthen the telecom network in the left-wing extremism affected states and other areas facing security challenges. The expenses which are going to be made in this regard are to be borne by the Universal Service Obligation Fund of Department of Telecommunication. So we have to remember about this Universal Service Obligation Fund, that it is under the Department of Telecommunication, and we have to remember the name of the Naxal affected states in which the telecom network is going to be set up. Now the next one is about USOF scheme, that is Universal Obligation Fund scheme for providing mobile services in Meghalaya. Now recently Union Cabinet has approved implementing comprehensive telecom development project for northeastern region in Meghalaya to improve the mobile services in the region. So this project involves providing 2G and 4G mobile coverage in identified uncovered areas of Meghalaya. This project is going to be funded by Universal Service Obligation Fund or USOF. Now this USOF or the Universal Service Obligation Fund, it is founded by central government to help fund projects to boost the connectivity in rural areas. Now the money in this particular fund, that is Universal Service Obligation Fund, it comes from the Universal Excess Levy which is charged from the telecom operators as percentage of various license fees. So we have to remember about the coverage scheme with regard to Meghalaya and about this Universal Service Obligation Fund which is to which the money comes from Universal Excess Levy from telecom operators. Next one is about Nepal being validated by WHO for being first in Southeast Asia to eliminate trachoma. So WHO has recently validated Nepal from having eliminated trachoma. Now this trachoma is a contiguous bacterial infection which affects the eye, and it is particularly common in young children. So this makes Nepal the first country in this Southeast Asian region as per the WHO to defeat trachoma, which is one of the world's leading infectious disease which causes blindness. Now the criteria used by WTO to assess this claim of eliminating trachoma It is that less than 5% of the children aged 1 to 9 years should have signs of active trachoma, and less than 0.2% of people aged 15 years and older should have this trachomatous tracheasis. So this is the criteria. Now if you look at the India's situation in this regard, India had self-declared itself free from infective trachoma in December 2015 after it met the goal of trachoma elimination, which was specified by WHO under the GET 2020 program, which is the global elimination of trachoma by the year 2020 program. So Nepal has become the first country to be validated by WHO, and India has made the self-declaration last year with regard to being trachoma free, and trachoma is a bacterial infection which affects the eyes. So this is the important information which we must remember for the examination. Now next one is about the launch of Samagra Shiksha scheme, which has been recently launched by the Union Ministry of HRD, and this one seeks to integrate the entire school education starting from the preschool level to senior secondary levels. And in this scheme we are going to focus on integrating the 2 T's, that is teacher and technology. Now let us learn more about this scheme. Now this scheme was introduced by subsuming 3 existing schemes, which are Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and teacher education. And the key objective of this scheme, they include providing quality education, increasing the learning outcomes, promoting vocationalization of education, and strengthening teacher education institutions like SCERTs and DIETs to improve the quality of teachers in the country. Also, we are going to provide an annual grant of rupees 5,000 to rupees 20,000 per school for strengthening of libraries. So these are the important objectives of this scheme. Now next one is about the appointment of C.K. Prasad as chairman of Press Council. So government has recently appointed former Supreme Court Judge Mr. C.K. Prasad as the chairman of Press Council of India for 2nd term. Now this Press Council of India is an important organization, and it was first set up in the year 1966 by the Parliament on the recommendations of First Press Commission. Now this Press Council of India is a statutory quasi-judicial body which adjudicates complaints against and by the press for violation of ethics and for violation of freedom of press. So this is an important organization with regard to the freedom of press, and it has both statutory as well as quasi-judicial functions. The objective of this organization is to preserve the freedom of press and to maintain and improve the standards of press in India. So the next and the last news item for the day is about Pakistan hosting a meeting of legal experts from SCO nation countries. So Pakistan is going to host a meeting of legal experts from SCO nations, and the objective is going to be on counter terror, and this meeting is to be held between 23rd and 25th May 2018. Now this SCO is, or Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is a Eurasian, that is combining Europe and Asian countries in political, economic and social security alliance. Its creation was first announced in China on 15th of June 2001 in Shanghai by the leaders of China and other neighboring countries including Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Now SCO has 8 full members, and they account for approximately half of the world population, quarter of the world's GDP and 80% of the Eurasia's landmass. So this is the landmass which is there in between Europe and Asia, covering these countries which are members of SCO or Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now RATS, or Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, is this permanent organ of Shanghai Cooperation Organization which seeks to promote cooperation among the member states against terrorism, extremism and separatism. So we have to remember about this particular organization, which is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that it has 8 full members, and India and Pakistan have also recently become its members, and this was first created on 15th of June 2001. And Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure of RATS, or RATS, is an important permanent organ of this particular organization which is dedicated towards combating terror in the world. So guys, this is all about our today's discussion with regard to some of the important current affairs, news and events from 20th to 24th May 2018. Thank you guys. If you found this video useful, please like the same and share it with your friends. And for more similar videos, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Thank you.